What is going on, everyone? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to a special Tuesday, March 19th edition of the Established to Run NBA DFS Injury Analysis Show. I am Mark Dankenbring, joined as always here by Mike Gallagher, who got in a hike this morning. He is officially off the injury report, at least listed probable with that great toe injury. So, how are you feeling today, Mike, after a nice, successful hike?
Yeah, feeling pretty good. Got a little PS squad peak action. It's like about 1,400 feet elevation, like a mile and a half ish
Nice.
on the way up. So yeah, really good hike. Sam and I, we talked a little all NBA. We talked a little bit about some injuries and the other minutes today. So yeah, nice little prep. And also we had a little dare. I'm the fastest Costco man alive, and I was like, I bet you I could get my list of like 8 to 10 things at Costco in under 15 minutes in and out of the parking lot. 12.50, baby.
Oh my gosh.
If anybody wants to try to match me at Costco speed, you're prepared to take an L.
That's incredible. I don't know about speed, but I pride myself on getting great discounts at the grocery
Yep.
store. Like I always want to get at least between 15 and 20% off the final bill. So that's always my goal, but not necessarily speed, but love to hear that. Today we are treated with a 5-game slate, not the best slate. And there is not a single spread under 7 points tonight. So potentially some blowouts on the docket tonight. Not a whole lot of injury news to cover, but before we get into it, I will plug our playback TV for tomorrow night, Wednesday night. The Established to Run crew will be live on playback TV /ETR to watch games together tomorrow. Hopefully there are some more games going on there. Mike and I will be there for sure. Sam will be there. Hopefully Drew and or Clav can pop in at any point to chime in as well. But we'll be doing our second week of playback tomorrow night. So I just wanted to get that out there at the top of the show so people know to tune in tomorrow. Last week we had some profitable bets. I think you guys went at least like 4-1 on bets tossed out on the show, and definitely fun to watch and just hang out and watch the games together. So that'll be going on tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern time, and we'll be sure to tweet out the links and pub it again on the show tomorrow. But without further ado, let's get into this slate. We will start with the Charlotte Hornets at Orlando Magic. The Hornets, a lot of out tags here. LaMelo Ball, Seth Curry, Cody Martin, Mark Williams, Bryce McGowan's, Leaky Black, and Marcus Bolden are all out. And a few of the G League guys there are important out tags tonight because we have Trey Mann questionable here with an illness. We've seen the Charlotte rotation can get pretty tight without Trey Mann. So any insight here on his availability? I know the illnesses are always tough to diagnose, but any insight here on Trey Mann's availability tonight and what the Hornets would do if he were to miss?
Yeah, I don't have anything. Addition to the injury report, it's never good. Looked great. Much to our chagrin, I had an under on him and absolutely smashed. Really aggressive with the drive. Steve Clifford called him out. So, yeah, we'll see. Obviously, if he doesn't start, we know they're going to go to that big man lineup that they've gone to when Trey Mann had the groin injury, which would be inserting Grant Williams into the starting lineup. That would up Nick Smith Jr.'s minutes. We've seen Davis Bertans and Alexei Pokashevsky pick up some extra minutes there. But, yeah, it could be, kind of a tight-ish 8-man. And against a pretty bad matchup, Orlando's defense has been quite strong. Especially against taking away 3-pointers. So they would need some interior scoring, which they're going to need that anyways. Like Charlotte's, they have no shooting right now. It's really kind of hurt their offense. It's really the worst offense in the NBA since the break. They've been quite bad. But yeah, losing Trey Mann's minutes will for sure get a tight rotation. But it's a matter if this game could stay close.
Yeah, and if they're desperate for shooting, obviously that's Davis Bertans' music right there a little bit. And then since the last time Trey Mann was out, Poku has really increased his role on the Hornets as well. So he'd probably get into the low mid-20s. We see him, 21 against Philly in this game. So his role would be pretty secure as well there. Let's head over to the Orlando side. It's a pretty clean injury report. Just a few G League tag out guys here with Jet Howard, Trevelin Queen, and Kevin Harris all out. Notable that Markelle Fultz and Jonathan Isaac are not on the injury report. So pretty much full rotation available here for the Magic. Any insight on how Orlando will play it tonight against the Hornets?
No reason to change it. Gary Harris gets talked up pretty much every presser now. He's, quote, steady and playing really well for them as their floor spacer. And then the weird thing was Jalen Suggs' minutes. His minutes were kind of down. And they're kind of just saying, like, hey, play as hard as you can and then, like, just make the most of your minutes. I saw Jamal Mosley, had phrased that. So, yeah, But Powell's playing a ton. Franz playing a pretty good bit. Had some fouls to cut him down. So, yeah, obviously, matchups not as good as you think. Like, you think Charlotte and just, oh my God, their defense is so bad. But they've been pretty solid, really, for the last. They're like top 2 or 3 in half court defense since the break. They've been really, really good. So, yeah, kind of a nasty game environment here. But it's, Charlotte's still getting pounded inside. So, like, we know Wendell Carter Jr. could be good. Powell and Franz. We know Franz. We love Franz for weak rim protection. So, those 3 guys, I think, are pretty steady. But then it's just sprinkling in guys after those 3. So, pretty tough to dig deep into this game.
Vegas certainly not expecting this to be a close or very competitive, high scoring game here. The Magic are 13.5-point favorites, biggest favorites of the night, and the game total is only 202. Charlotte has a sub 95 point team total tonight, so that's pretty brutal. That might be the lowest I actually seen on the season, sub 95. We've seen a couple 98s, but sub 95 is real low. So not a whole lot of fantasy interest, even though the Hornets could be pretty thin here. All right, let's move along to second game on the slate, which is the Houston Rockets at Washington Wizards. Another potential really thin team here for the Wizards, but we'll start on the Rockets side. Their injury report remains the same as it's been the last few weeks here. Cam Whitmore remains out. Alperen Sengun is out. Tari Eason, Steven Adams, Nate Hinton, and Jermaine Samuels all remain out. So again, then we've kind of seen this, status quo injury report here with Amen Thompson filling in the starting role as Alperen Sengun remains out. So any insight here on the Rockets and any potential shift or change in what they've been doing?
No, they're just going for it. They're kind of with the Warriors losing last night. They're within shouting distance of closing the gap on them. So I expect them to play pretty tight. We got a good Jabari Smith game in a bad matchup. We talked about this before. We usually love centers against the Wizards, but Jabari's not like that kind of center. And we saw Jock Landale go ham in this earlier matchup. We saw Landale's minutes get cut a little bit in the last game. So I think that this is maybe more of a Landale spot than a Jabari spot. And then Fran VanVleet's playing a ton, 16 times in the last game. Jalen Green's playing really well. Amen, hanging in the upper 20s minutes role. So that's kind of where obviously Washington, we just love to use players against them. Their defense is so bad, especially in transition and rim scoring. They are 50 points per game allowed at the rim now. It's just they're widening the gap, especially as the Pacers have been a little bit better there. Pacers playing actually really good defense. Their last 6 games, the Pacers are 5th in defensive rating. Just to shout them out real quick, previewing matchups tomorrow. Got a pretty busy morning for your boy today. Did some matchups writing too. That's but yeah, again, pretty big spot. Expect a lot of offense, and I think that they're going to go for it. So you could see a little bit tighter rotation now that we're kind of down the stretch here.
Love it. Yeah. And this last matchup between Houston and Washington that happened on March 14th, so just 5 days ago, the Wizards were without Richaun Holmes. He is off the injury report tonight, so he'll at least be there. They'll start big tonight. And Kyle Kuzma started at the center in their last matchup, but Kyle Kuzma is listed questionable. Let's hop over to the Washington side. They also have a ton of out tags as well. Denny Avdia listed out, Marvin Bagley out, Bilal Coulibaly is out after suffering a right wrist fracture. He will miss the rest of the season. So big blow to the end of his rookie campaign. Tyus Jones remains out. So, we just listed 3 out of their 4 major or, primary starters are all out tonight. And then Isaiah Livers, Eugene Omoruyi, and Landry Shamet all remain out as well. So a ton of rotation players out here. I mentioned Kyle Kuzma, questionable. Any insight here on Kuzma? Because obviously if, he plays, it would be a massive role for him.
Yeah, don't have much on Kuzma. We saw him not play the last game. We'll see. And they didn't really get any info from Brian Keefe before or after the game. So it sounds like he's going to be game time. Not a back-to-back, but, I mean, this season's over. They're 11-57, so they could sit him out. And then on top of that, we saw Corey Kispert's minutes come down, which we liked that. We had under on him. And then so the phrasing on why he did it, he was like, hey, we want to look at other guys. And that's a pretty common thread nowadays for teams who are like really bad. So if Kuzma's like 85, 90%, then we just keep him out. That way they could look at, I guess play small, maybe look at more Richaun Holmes, maybe play some more Patrick Baldwin Jr. So yeah, and we talk about this a lot. We did this all the time when we were doing, preseason analysis. The guys who are on bad teams, if they're not 100%, they're going to sit them out. So that's working against Kuzma here. Jordan Poole should get another start. Expecting Justin Champagnie to get a start here. He actually guarded Jason Tatum in the last game and played pretty well. Had a post-game interview. Looked pretty strong. Minutes should be pretty good there. As I mentioned, Corey Kispert minutes got cut because they wanted to look at other guys. He'll be back to normal, assuming this game's close. It might not be. And then Richaun Holmes should start, and then Kuzma or PBJ, depending who's in the mix there. They want to play Johnny Davis. We saw a lot of Jules Bernard last game. He didn't play in the first quarter, played a long stint in the second quarter, and then got garbage time to really boost him up. And then Umiyuri, as you mentioned, he's out. He rolled his ankle last game. Sounds like he's going to miss more time here. So that'll get Anthony Gill in the mix. And then, yeah, they're kind of getting thin here. But the headlines here, I think that, Champagne's in the mix for more minutes. And then we'll see what's up with Kuzma. Obviously, the role is getting better for Jordan Poole, and he's been busy with it, especially if Kuzma doesn't play. So, yeah, the Rockets' defense is pretty good. They are worse on the road, so that's helping them. And it's in Washington. Maybe they can hang around. So, yeah, I think that compared to the Hornets, I think there's a little bit more juice to possibly getting more offense from the Wizards.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I was a little surprised to see the spread at only 9.5, just given how bereft of talent the Wizards are at the moment, and potentially without Kuzma. I was expecting at least double digits, but we'll see if that trends up depending on Kuzma's status. But yeah, as you mentioned, I mean, Jordan Poole played well and still only got 23 minutes, but had over a 40% usage rate last game. So if Kuzma is out, expect Poole to kind of take things into his own hands here a little bit. Any word on Tristan Vucevic, who the Wizards signed a few weeks ago? I know you mentioned him last week. Any chance of him suiting up?
Just comments from Brian Keefe that he's not close. So
okay.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to expect him back yet, sadly. I love those big summer league ballers.
So out of potential starters, do you think, when we're kind of looking at guys who could start and play garbage, do you think kind of Patrick Baldwin and Justin Champagnie are at the top of that list?
Yeah, I would say Bernard's a lock. Javis is a lock. I think Gill's a lock. So that's 3. And then I would probably go, who's next? Let me pull up who they got last game. 1 second here. They got last game. Gill, Bernard, Johnny Davis, PBJ, and then Champagnie did get it. Yeah, he played the full fourth.
Yeah, so that's obviously a nice combo if PBJ and Champagnie start and can get the garbage time. That's a little nice floor ceiling combo there to insulate from the potential blowout.
Yeah, he got a huge. PBJ only missed about 2.5 minutes in the second half, so he got a ton of run.
Cool. Yeah, and with Umiyuri out, their front court could be really thin without Kuzma as well again tonight. All right, let's go to the New Orleans Pelicans at Brooklyn Nets. Third game of the slate tonight. The Pelicans, relatively straightforward injury report that we've had of late here. Dyson Daniels, Malcolm Hill, EJ Liddell, and Darion Sebron all remain out. Herb Jones is probable here, and then we have the Cody Zeller available tag with the face mask. So pretty straightforward here for the Pels. Another big spread as they are 8.5 point favorites against the Nets. So what's your insight here on the Pels and any news and notes for them?
Just a really big Zion role. Been talking about that, how the touches are back up, the drives are way up. He's playing better defense. He's been fan-freaking-tastic. But yeah, we saw Herb Jones miss the last game, had a bad fall, went to the locker room, got rolled out the last game, paying for my 30-man team. But yeah, he'll be back after just a fall. So I'm not expecting any limits on him. He'll be good to go and in the starting lineup for sure. Trey Murphy will still play a pretty good bit. That'll affect a little bit affect Valanciunas, just because since they want to play Trey Murphy, and if Herb's back, they're not going to want to take Herb's minutes. They're not going to want to take Zion's minutes, not take CJ's minutes, Brandon's minutes. So it's just, Valanciunas could lose a little bit to play a little bit smaller. We've seen that Zion center lineup, but yeah, Herb's pretty much good to go. They full practice. Larry Nance practiced there, so yeah, pretty much in good shape here for a pretty bad Nets team.
Yeah, with Nance back as well, a spot that they can play small here, and they've definitely been leaning into that a bit more lately. So thanks for noting Nance off the injury report as well. He will be back and active tonight. On the Nets side, we do have a decent Q tag to deal with here, as Dorian Finney-Smith is questionable. Same out tags here that we've seen for a while now. Ben Simmons remains out, Dariq Whitehead remains out, and then 4 G Leaguers are out as well. So if Finney-Smith does miss, they could run it somewhat tight here. But do you think Cam Johnson would be, right in pen that he would start if Finney-Smith were to miss, and any other bench pieces that would, improve minutes wise if DFS were to miss tonight?
Yeah, I'd say probably 95% sure Cam Johnson would get the start. This is the ankle injury that he was listed with earlier this week. Had a probable tag, was available, downgraded to Q tag here. Also had this injury before this month, so a little concern. Not a back-to-back. We'll see. Nets are usually pretty good at updating injuries, but Then we saw Cam Thomas kind of play a ton early, but like lost some late minutes. And after the game, Kevin Ollie said like, "My bad, I shouldn't have pulled him out when he did." So yeah, we could get a lot of minutes here from these guys. Pelicans play really good defense these days. So, but again, I mean, they're NBA players. Who if the defense is good, if you're getting 40 minutes, we're definitely going to be talking about him later on the DFS show. So yeah, could really really tighten up here if Dorian Finney-Smith misses.
Sounds good. Let's move along to Dallas at San Antonio. Hopefully, Luka Doncic and Victor Wembanyama match up here for all the NBA execs out there that are loving the Wembanyama craze at the moment. But should be a potentially fun game here. Luka Doncic and Dante Exum are both probable on the Mavs side, and then Josh Green listed out here with that ankle sprain, where that was one of the worst ankle sprains I've seen this year. His right ankle almost touched the floor, it looked like to me, on that turn. So he is out a couple weeks, and then they have a few G Leaguers listed out here as well. But with Luka and Exum listed probable, not a whole lot to worry about here, but any news and notes on the Mavs?
Yeah, just thinning out Josh Green. We're seeing a lot of like straight center stuff. The maxi clue before small ball stuff's gone away. Takes a little bit off PJ Washington's minutes. We had an under on him that we felt pretty good on. But yeah, Xman's minutes are safer. Tim Hardaway a little bit safer, and then Derek Jones. They're kind of just spreading it around. We know Luka and Kyrie. Hamstring be damned. They're going to play Luka 40. Kyrie, one of the craziest buzzer beaters of the year. Jamal Murray left too much time on the clock there, but yeah, Mavs have kind of righted the ship overall after we saw them dip. Just a huge win for them against Denver.
Yeah, that was an amazing game. Back and forth. Nuggets, nice comeback to tie it up in the fourth. And then Jamal missing that wide open mid-ranger and followed up by the Kyrie, just insane circus left-handed shot was incredible. Yeah, that was an awesome game. Let's head over to the Spurs side here. The big news here is that Zach Collins woke up feeling ill and is out tonight, so he will not play. And then Dominic Barlow was initially listed out on this morning's injury report, but was upgraded to available. So he should be Victor Wembanyama's backup tonight, as he is currently in a van heading back to San Antonio for this game. So any insight here on the Spurs other than Zach Collins and Barlow and your G League tracker? I think you might have something for us there.
Yeah, G League tracker. They're with the Rio Grande Valley Vipers. The Austin Spurs are in a van right now, as you mentioned. It is 3 hours and 26 minutes to get from where the Rio Grande Valley Vipers play to where the Spurs are playing at home tonight. Got to dig deep on the injury show here. So Dominic Barlow should have plenty of time to be back up there for a normal pregame warm up and all that good stuff. Assuming no traffic. Should avoid rush hour though, so it should be okay. So he'll be on the backup spot. Obviously, Wembanyama, I mean, I don't even need to say anything. Like, just an absurd game with the shot blocking and someone called it like a dad bucket when he like shot over. All these guys who are so undersized. He's just been so good. Must see TV. So yeah, that's definitely not the bad. But there really is no clear like Mike Gallagher bad basketball game of the night. Like, I guess it's Houston Washington, just because Washington's like so bad. But the Rockets have a 5-game winning streak. But anyways, so yeah, Wemby, minutes limits. They're trying to hang in that low 30s range. Did get up there. It's not a hard cap there. And then Vassell, Sohan playing a ton of minutes here. Yeah, so pretty interesting spot here. Dallas' defense has been a little bit better, but still pretty bad. So could be some fantasy goodness on the San Antonio side. And I mean, it's Victor Wembanyama. There's always going to be a lot.
Yeah, and we see on the screen there, Cedi Osman returned last game and played his usual like 14 to 16 minutes off the bench. So that does cut down Malachi Branham a little bit. We saw Blake Wesley get into the mid-teens a few games and Branham into the low 20s, and that's kind of off the table, I think, with Cedi as they go back to this 10-man rotation. Pop was kind of cutting it down to 9 without him, so that loosens the rotation again here with Cedi back. I also saw a tweet yesterday that Charles Bassey might be coming back soon. He was initially listed doubtful. Do you have any insight there or info on when Bassey could potentially return?
Nah, I mean, that was pretty shocking. So I think he's not ready yet, but pretty good sign to get ACL tear and even get a doubtful tie. That's usually like you're done. So
yeah,
pretty nice to see that.
Cool. All right, we'll go to the final game of the night, which certainly on paper, it sets up as the best matchup. The Denver Nuggets at the Minnesota Timberwolves. It is the back end of a back-to-back for Minnesota. They are the only team on a back-to-back on this slate. So a bit notable there, but we did get their injury report filing, which was nice for us. On the Nuggets side, relatively clean here. All the G Leaguers are available, which I thought was interesting. Typically, they have multiple guys listed out for G League. The most notable Q tag here is Zeke Naji, listed with low back pain. So, he'd pretty much just get the backup Jokic minutes. Any insight here on Naji's potential availability? And do you think in this matchup they would just give those minutes to DeAndre Jordan, or any chance they play small with maybe some Aaron Gordon at the 5?
Yeah, I haven't got to Denver's minutes yet, but it would be a hedge for sure. Like, we would just split it with DeAndre. They like that small ball lineup. They're trying to find minutes for Justin Holiday, and that's just the easiest way to do it. Like, you're not going to cut minutes out of the starting 5. And Christian Brown's playing well. Reggie Jackson, we saw him have that big Miami fourth quarter when he cut down Jamal Murray's minutes. Peyton Watson's playing really well. I don't think they want to cut down the chemistry those guys can build. So it would be at the mercy of DeAndre Jordan to play if Zeke missed. So yeah, but it is Gobert. If Gobert plays, we'll talk about him in a second. So yeah, pretty big matchup for seeding. So we could see some tighter minutes. We saw the comments from Mike Malone last week saying he wanted to try to cut down Nikola Jokic's minutes. That has not happened. So I don't think it's going to happen here. I think this is a pretty big game for them. So yeah, pretty much could expect some pretty strong minutes here in a game that would kind of go a decent way for, helping them get the number 1 seed.
Awesome. That makes sense to me that they'll choose their spots. This doesn't seem like one of them to pull back on Jokic and the other starters' minutes. We do have a busy injury report on the Wolves side. Naz Reid, questionable with a head injury that caused him to leave last night's game. Rudy Gobert, questionable with ribs. He did not play last night. And then Ant Edwards, questionable with a left finger dislocation, which I believe he dislocated on that dunk, which was just absolutely unbelievable. One of the best posters you will ever see. So that was incredible. He did come back in and play after that. So I would imagine Ant would be okay. But any insight here on Naz Reid and Rudy Gobert, and then Ant as well?
Yeah, didn't really see too much what happened to Naz Reid. After the game, Chris Finch said he didn't really know, didn't get an update on him, but not listed concussion. That's a good sign. Ant played through it and played really well down the stretch. We saw his fingers taped up. It was he had his ring finger and middle finger taped up together for pretty much the whole time down the stretch, and still aggressive with the shot. Took jumpers, dribbling fine. Like, he looked completely 100%. So pretty sure he's going to play. Maybe he had like a hairline fracture. I imagine they're going to x-ray him a little bit more to make sure. But yeah, I mean, Ant plays through everything. Like, guy gets carried to the locker room, comes back out and looks great. So
yeah.
And then Rudy Gobert. So, we talked about Edinburgh to San Antonio time. So yesterday he said he went hiking with his wife, who's pregnant, by the way, who also said that he might miss a game in the playoffs if his wife has a baby then. Put that on the back burner. But hey, my man could go hiking. Of course you could play NBA basketball, right? So I think they were just managing him. So with rib pain, it's like usually a pain tolerant stuff. So I don't really have like a great read on it, but he seems to be upbeat. And again, like, the fact that he's like still be able to do stuff, it's just a matter if he could, like, we'll see if he has like a flak jack or whatever. But I think considering the magnitude of this game, he'll probably give it a go. But I don't really have too much. It's kind of tough to tell these contusion injuries. I think he would be unaffected by a limit. Again, this isn't like a hamstring pull or something. It's just like contact. So if he's in, he's full go. Did want to highlight Jordan McLaughlin, who is playing, quote, lights out, according to Chris Finch. Kind of is icing Monty Morris a little bit. So that's something to watch here. But yeah, I expect pretty good amount of minutes here. Obviously, matchups it's probably bad, or it's good for the first half, but Denver just locks down the stretch. Jaden McDaniels played a bunch. And should mention too, if Nas and Gobert don't go, it was, quote, an easy decision to start small when Nickeil Alexander-Walker in the second half. Jaden McDaniels goes 4-13 and makes the buzzer beater to hook us. We had a McDaniels over yesterday. That was brutal. But yeah, so pretty unclear, but it doesn't sound like any of these injuries are serious. We know that the Wolves will list guys questionable there. So actually, before I hand back to you, I did want to dig up a little bit more on the Tristan Vucevic stuff. So just digging more, like 2, 3, 4 games ago, he was like, oh yeah, like kind of off the back burner. And then he just said he didn't have the exact timing of when he's going to return. That was said before the weekend. So I don't really know. Like, there's like, I'm sure we should get the quote if he's going to be in there, but it sounds like he's going to be like maybe in. He was at the game on St. Patrick's Day, so it looks like he's getting closer. But I don't think they're going to throw him in there yet. But I just want to note that there's a chance that we give him minutes tonight.
Cool. Yeah, that's something to keep an eye on. And I was going to ask if both Naz Reid and Gobert are out, how do you think they handle Jokic? Do you think they would start slow-mo? Because obviously that's a bit of a different proposition than, starting small against John Collins.
Yeah, I think they would.
Okay.
I think that, if they didn't have Naz, I think they would. They put slow-mo on Joker before and like let Gobert roam. So I assume they'd be okay with that.
Cool. Since we do have a little bit of a shorter show, we have a question from Ian here, and I know you've been deep in the awards sheets lately.
Yeah.
Mike, can you explain to us why Gobert is still such a heavy favorite for Depoy if there is any time today, please? So any insight there on why Rudy Gobert is the heavy favorite for Defensive Player of the Year?
He's a center, best player, best defense, and he hasn't missed many games. I mean, pretty straightforward. I get that he's probably maybe a little bit over favored, but he should be favored. Like, you're definitely not rushing to bet that. And I don't think there's any edge to it. Like, I was looking to see if you could go there, but
yeah,
I mean, he should
essentially
win.
The anchor defensive player on the best defense in the NBA is typically a calling card for Defensive Player of the Year award. So most likely that.
Well, the problem too is like if Mobley had been healthy, I think Mobley could have like pushed them because the Cavs defense is good, but all the like good like Victor Wembanyama's second. Like that kind of just shows you that there's like nobody really make a really strong case to me. And this is why I was like so big on Marcus Smart. I was like, oh, Boston's gonna have the best defense. And then we're like, oh, like, you just gotta take shot. Like they're gonna vote for the guy in the best defense, especially since Gobert's like so clearly impacting the defense. Like he should be heavily favored to me. And he's gonna win it.
Yeah, and it's been a year-long campaign. I definitely feel like Wemby has come on strong the last couple of months, but the first few months, with his minutes limit and just how well Gobert was playing and the Wolves have been playing all season, I would be surprised if Wemby overtook Gobert, but certainly an interesting conversation down the stretch here. And I think people, even voters, like mentally might think, well, Wembanyama is probably going to win. Depoy maybe for the next 5 years or, whatever, like he could go on a massive run if he stays healthy and just with his prospects. So certainly interesting. I mean, the Spurs defense has been incredible with Wembanyama on the floor, but I do think it makes sense that Gobert is still the heavy favorite.
And then just to clarify Naz Reid was not diagnosed with a concussion. No update from Chris Finch. So he could get announced as a concussion today. So keep an eye on that. Like if he doesn't have a concussion, he's probably going to play. But and then should also note just with the John Collins stuff, after the game, Will Hardy is like, yeah, he didn't seem like he was with it. So that was weird. I don't know if he was like, it's like, hey, maybe take it easy on the guy after the man got dunked on. But keep an eye on if Naz Reid did get hit with a concussion, there would be zero chance because you'd have to clear protocol. You can't do that the same day. So keep an eye on that.
Cool. All right. Well, that will do it for us today. A reminder, tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern time, we'll be on playback.tv/ETR, watching games, talking about live bets, sweating our official prop bets that we've taken in the ETR channel. So make sure to join us there, watch some games tomorrow night. But that will do it for this edition of the Established Around NBA Injury Analysis Show. As always, we ask for your support in promoting this free content by liking the video and subscribing to our YouTube channel. I noticed that we just need 200 more people to subscribe to the YouTube channel to get to 5,000, which is our goal by the end of the year. So if you're watching this and have not yet subscribed, please go down below, like and subscribe the video. It really does mean a lot to us at ETR to have your support on this free content. If you are interested in supporting us behind the paywall, you can head to establishedrun.com/subscribe-MBA to get access to all of our packages there. Mike hinted at he's already starting on his Wednesday matchups column. You have matchups columns from Mike Monday, Wednesday, Friday, which are elite. We have our DFS show 5 p.m. Eastern time every weekday, and then top plays as well to go along with that. So lots of good stuff behind the paywall as well. Appreciate everyone that watches today for this free content. Tomorrow, Drew will be back with Mike on Wednesday here, but that will do it for us today. Appreciate all you guys out there. Hope you have a good one. Peace out.